All right, we're back with the Acura Integra Type S, and now we are going to do a flex can fuel system. So we'll dive right in. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take out this valve cover. Every single of these open slots has a bolt, and then we're also going to take out our oil fill cap so it pops on off. So this is going to be an unbolting process of a lot of stuff. First thing we'll start with is these bolts right here, and then we'll take this plate off to access the fuel line. Here's the fuel line right here. We had to disconnect this, and then now we're going to go ahead and take off the fuel connector right there. This is the connector that holds it together. It just twists on like such, and then it clips on. Once you remove that, there'll be this clip right here on here as such, and then you're just gonna push these tabs in together and then pull it out. If you don't let the car sit, the gas will explode out on you, so be careful. All right, now we're gonna take off this bracket. So there's two bolts underneath it. Take those out and pull this. You're gonna have to disconnect this final clip, just push in on the back and it pops out. And this is gonna be out, and we're gonna replace it with the new one. The new flex can system. As you see, the bracket's right there, and it's just gonna bolt into that location.
To get it installed, you're gonna take this bolt out right here and remove this inlet so you can access the bolts back here. And it should just slide right off. Don't lose the washer that comes out. Now you have access to the bolt back there.
Guys, I'm sorry. Go ahead and just bolt that in right there at that location. Now we are gonna reassemble the fitting we took out. This slides right in. There's a washer that connects behind it as such.
Close it, turn it.
And put the bolt in. I'll connect it. And then once all connected, we're gonna slide the fuel line on. It's just gonna pop right on. All right, so provided in the kit is this other clip. You're just gonna go ahead and you're gonna pop it on. It's gonna slot right there in these grooves. And then we're gonna be able to attach our fuel line. All right, so we have to remove the battery. We have to be able to access the port to get inside the cab and to access behind here. Okay, so now we need to get this wire ran through the grommet to the firewall. I just take a big Phillips screwdriver and I'll shove it through a hole in the grommet. On the inside, we're gonna take a string as such, and we're gonna tape it to the inside of the screwdriver. And that way we can pull the screwdriver through and it'll pull the string through. All right, so we taped on the cord that we're gonna pull through the grommet, and it should come right through. Okay, then we tuck the wire behind this, and then we plugged it into its home right there. All right, now onto that. So we're gonna start removing plugs. So we got this one that came out, and then we got that one that we unplugged. Now that looks about it for the plug. So now we're gonna take out this bracket. We're gonna take this bolt out, and there's one more bolt right down by my thumb. We're gonna take that one, and there's this top one as well. So now we took out, hold on one sec, see. We took out this bracket bolt right here so we could access these intake bolts. There's gonna be about
5 on top.
5 on top. And they look like they're about right where that socket is. For reference, this is what we're taking out. This one, this one, this one, that one, and that one. There's nothing on bottom.
There's a bolt on there, but don't know that one yet.
And then there's these 4, obviously. And then these were the brackets that we already took off. To access the throttle body, we have to take out the battery tray, and it's going to be
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 bolts. Our battery box tray is coming out. We're gonna remove this sensor, is that bolt. We're gonna take off this clip right here. We're gonna undo this hose What was yours?
That one right there.
We're going to take off that hose, and then there's going to be another clip right there, a green clip that we have to take off too. All right, so we are taking out the throttle body bolts. There's 4 bolts where that ratchet is. One on the left, one on the right, and the same with the bottom. One on the left, one on the right. There's a couple more to take out. We have one right here, this one I'm holding. There's a clip there. And then if we come around to the other side, where the throttle body is, it's gonna be this one right here that we have to take out. But we'll probably remove this once we could shift the throttle body out. Right, and finally, got it free. And we're gonna go ahead and lift it on up out the passenger side. And it should slide on out. All right, we got it out. So a little bit of a struggle, especially because there is a hidden bolt out on the bottom right here, this bracket. This bolt is so shallow that it's pretty much impossible to get a socket on. So we were able to pop the wiring harness out and get this bolt out. Yeah, that's about it. Then on to the next part. The difference between a ported and non-ported. This is stock, this is ported. As you see, took out all this extra space. And then also he smoothed out the runner and he opened them up too. Very cool. So we are gonna move this hose, this piece, take this off, and we're gonna transfer over to a new one. And then we're gonna move this bracket over as well. Besides that, we're gonna put it back in the car. So this is what it looks like with the intake off. And then
that foam back.
We pulled this foam back to expose this fuel rail, which is right here, if it'll focus. And then now what we're doing is we're gonna take these bolts off. It looks like there is 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it looks like 7 bolts, 2 per spot. Okay, so we're taking off the fuel rail. We're gonna have to loosen this back bolt right there. So you'll loosen it up, slide it to the back, and then at this side there is a plug right down there that needs to pop off. There is a little bracket that covers it from being accessed, so there's 2 bolts holding that bracket on, so take those off. It's gonna be right there is bolt number 1, and then bolt at the bottom. So you're gonna slide these clips up and out, and it loosens the injectors, or the clamp for the injectors. So a trick to getting out the injectors, because they are pretty stuck in there like this, and it's hard to get a hold of them, is see this tip, how it has a bevel? You're gonna use a tool like this, and then leverage it to pop it out, and they'll come flying out. As we see, the seals got stuck in the fuel rail, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a pick, and then we're gonna pick out the seals. So these are the new 1450 injectors, and we're gonna put this lube on them so they slide in. Now we're gonna put these in first, and then we're gonna slide the fuel rail on after. So we decided to put them on the fuel rail first, and as you see, they're one directional. There is a groove right there, and it's pretty, you have to be pretty forceful, but you slide it, it pops in. So we forgot to put the retainer clips in, so we're just pulling it out. These retainer clips, they go in as such, like this, and then they pop in. Just kind of gives it a little more stability. All right, with the fuel rail in and the injectors in, we're gonna run the bolts in. There's 2 per cylinder, and then that should seat the injectors in properly. So now we're gonna put on our new high pressure fuel pump. We're gonna be tackling this mechanism right here. Okay, so to take this pump out, there's gonna be this Allen key here. There's gonna be an Allen key on the other side of the diaphragm. And there's gonna be this plug. And then you have 2 banjo bolts, this one, and then that one right there. That's all gonna come out, and you're just gonna lift out. All right, with fuel pump out of the way, we have this line right here. This is the bottom one that needs to be removed. The other side connects down to the fuel rail, but it has been removed already. So now we just need to take out this 10mm bolt. That's a retaining clip right down there. If you can see it. It's kind of hard to point to. Right there. Okay, so accessing that bolt is quite tricky. First thing we did is we took off the bolt that holds this little diaphragm to move out of the way. Then we're now going to remove this bracket, so we're going to take off these bolts right here. It should come out. All right, now we're installing our new fuel line. Gonna wedge it back in there. All right, so once you get the fuel rail back in, it's gonna sneak down here. See if I could show you. And it's gonna come to this line, and then this piece right here is gonna slide in and screw in. Okay, so with these fuel rails, we're gonna plug in the injectors now. There's gonna be 4 of them. I'm just gonna plug them into the injectors. Okay, so we're gonna put this plug back in and then tighten the bracket down. Okay, so this is the fuel pump bracket that we're gonna put on first. Put some blue Loctite on those, push that down, and now we're gonna put the other part of the cylinder. Okay, so we oriented it to the left. We put the cylinder on. We were able to just bend the fuel line just a little bit to go into there. Now we're putting these screws in to clamp it to the mounting plate. And then we'll jump to this last piece. All right, so this is a little bracket we have to build. You're just gonna put on this adapter, then the fuel rail that they provide. You're gonna steal the old clip for it, and then you're just gonna tighten those up, push it down, and put it into the fuel line. It will look like this when it's all together. So we had to reattach this bracket right here. There's 2 hoses underneath right here that we put back on. We went ahead and we put this bracket back on right here. There's 2 bolts that hold that on. And then now it's just plug and play like you took it off. We're just doing the plugs up top, the hoses, and it's pretty self-explanatory. All right, everything's going back together. We're just bolting everything back up the way we took it off, reverse engineering it. Now we're gonna put this coupler back on. It's gonna go from the throttle body to that port right there. We'll do that next. Make sure you all look where all your plugs are and all your hoses. All right, and that is pretty much the finished product. We are going to go ahead and plug these in as a last step. Oh.
After connecting all these wires, as so, you're going to replace the existing OBD2 sensor with the pigtail for this, and this will be your new OBD2 sensor.
Now, I know this video was a little hard to see all the bolt holes, the hose locations, and everything like that. It's because it is extremely hard to video something where there's literally no space. So you are kind of working blind halfway. So just give yourself at least a day to do it. And then just take your time, do your best. You will get it. It isn't that difficult. The bolts and hoses are pretty self-explanatory. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around for more videos just like this. Thank you.